Good.
Rice don't talk. That's my first time in a while.
Alright. After the APHN, we'll have to go out.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
You could see how bad someone could be and really like something.
Yeah, my friend's playing like insane.
If a central bank buys bonds, does that mean the government is selling them?
No, that means the Fed, the central bank and the Fed are the same thing. So the Fed is buying.
I got shot.
Okay. Buy boom, Barrett, buy boom. In here, right? You want to put it out, yeah.
Get it out of my system.
Look at you, do you know? Look at. Did you do your notes already?
Were we supposed to use your company?
What?
We're supposed to hear.
I didn't say so, you don't have to.
I mean, I did, but
Good.
I'm hard to use this time.
Yeah. Evan, did you do your notes yet?
No.
No, I want, I'm gonna send you something to do, like an outline. I want you to do it and then tell me, do you think that was more effective? And just like, you know. I just don't want to make someone who did them do it. How you doing, Chuckles?
Okay.
Good weekend?
I don't remember.
You don't remember it?
Wait a minute, yeah, he was.
Doing a lot of edibles, Chuckles? Okay. All right. Barrett, how you feeling about this drill? I can't hear you, sorry. Kind of confused. All right. If the Fed, which is the central bank, is buying, what do we know? Here, I'll just put this graph up. So anytime you see kind of, I shouldn't say this because this is one of two graphs you should think of when you see the Fed. That's nominal interest. Okay. So if the Fed buys, buy boom, what's going to happen to money supply? Right or left? Okay. So here we go. If I shift right, what's going to happen to interest rates? They're going to go down. Okay. So if that's all you knew, by boom, money supply increases, we can get rid of A, B, and D, correct? Okay. You want to take a guess from there? Because now at least you're guessing 50-50. It's C. There's an inverse relationship between interest rates and bond pricing. Okay. There you go. Any questions on that? You're good, Evan? Okay. There's just the graph I had with Barrett. I used to be able to say if it had to do with the central bank, but we're actually going to teach how the money supply actually works. Bennett, just remind me to take care of your point. It was close to insane, but
I thought you never seen anything like that.
I haven't.
I was gonna say if it's like a random person buys bonds, that.
Okay, just yeah. A random person buying bonds, if they're buying it from the bank, it's the same thing. Okay. All right. Kyle, if money supply shifts right and interest rates go down, what would happen to business investment? They would invest more and aggregate demand would increase. Okay, great. Buy, boom. Then the economy is going good. Good job. Okay, there we go. All right, Nick.
Thank you for guiding us today, giving us a good weekend. Help anyone that's going through sickness right now, or anyone grieving the loss of someone close to them. And that's how. Very much. I'll be on. If you start. That's okay.
All right, people wanted more practice problems. They asked about the shifters to contract first. So rod is the shifter. If I want to contract the economy, I want AT to go left. I raise the reserve requirement. I sell, sucking the money out of the system. I sell bonds. I raise the discount rate. If I want to expand the economy, AT right, I lower the reserve requirement. I buy bonds. I lower the discount rate. Difference between fiscal policy is something Congress is in charge of. Congress approves taxes and they approve government spending. Monetary policy is something the Fed or the central bank's in charge of. They're two different entities. And monetary policy is raw. You can think of the Fed or the central bank as the bank for bankers. You know, it's where the banks go when they need to borrow money. And when money supply increases like this, why does interest rates go down? Well, interest rates go down because banks have a lot of money. They want to make money, so they lower the interest rates as an incentive for people to borrow money. Okay, any questions on this?
Was it sell bonds for contract?
For contract, yeah, sell some. You're sucking money out and the economy sucks. Okay, I gotta be careful, I'm taping this one. All right, so you know what to do at 11:59. Tonight, you should start chapter 25, savings and investment. There's the pages. On Thursday, we have a quiz. I'm going to review in the morning for the quiz and after school for the AP review. Now, for you morning people, I'm going to do an AP review Friday morning. Okay, so you have a chance to either go Thursday after school or Friday morning. I just wanted to be here Thursday morning in case people had questions about the quiz. Okay, I think the practice test is up. I think there's an outline for the chapter up. It's only on the chapter that's due today. Okay, and we're going to learn things that are not in the chapter. That's not on the quiz, just what's in the chapter. Okay. All right. First, any questions on this? All right, here we go. With your partners, go over these kind of things. Go.
It's like, positive and back is like what you want to have. Whereas output customers and input is other.
I'll video it. All right, anything up there that you or your partner were not sure about, forgot? Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
the formula maximizing utility.
Yeah,
MUX over MY equals UX over MY.
there it is.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get a problem that uses that formula by this week's end. But this doesn't really work. All right, anything else? Mike?
Positive statement on the opinion base.
No, positive fact. Normative is more opinion.
And then what are the shifters?
Production possibilities curve, change in quantity and quality of resources. Technology. If you want to get really nifty and break them down, so you remember the LRAF. Change in human and natural resources and change in capital stock. Now, change in human and natural resources is quantity and quality of resources. Change in capital stock is also change in quantity and quality of resources, but they seem to use capital stock a lot, Chuckles. Okay, anything else? All right. Let's try a new set. Go over these. Go. Give you a couple of minutes. Go to your. Yeah. Like you got what you need there? Who said I don't know? What don't you know?
Yeah.
Stuff, right? Yeah.
Oh, actually. You miss credit card. Actually, you're on.
Trust.
All right, anything you or your partner? Yes. Medium of exchange is how you use money every day. So if you go to Target to buy a jacket and you pay them cash, that's a medium of exchange. But you need unit of account too.
Yes.
Okay, so unit of account would be, if I said, Tommy, this marker is worth $2, putting a value on a product is unit of account.
What is M1%?
M1 is money in circulation, savings, and demand deposit. M2 is everything in M1 and like time deposits, which would be you give 2,000 to the bank and you say you won't take the money out for 6 months and they give you extra interest, and mutual money funds.
What's the difference between unit of account and like intrinsic value? Are they the same thing?
Now, the unit of account is, I mean, unit of account is using money to put a value on things. I think you're thinking of fiat versus commodity. So commodity is like gold. So if you weren't using it for money, it still has intrinsic value. Where fiat is like paper, it has. I don't really know my pronounce.
I don't know either.
So you're good. Any way you want to pronounce it,
It looks
long
like
as
it's flat on the text area.
It's like that.
it's FIAT though, right?
That's how it looks like.
Okay,
But it is VI. Why is it?
I don't know. All right, anything up here, you still might not. I put credit cards here to remind me that, to tell you credit cards are not money. They're not M1, they're not M2, they're loans. Okay, so credit card is really loaning you money to the end of the month, so you pay your bill, or if you don't pay your bill. Anything else, anyone else here? You're good? Okay. All right, so today I'm going to review some bank balance terminology. We're going to do some bank sheets and try to figure out how deposits from the Fed and from consumers affect the total money supply. Okay. All right, so part of the definitions, like demand deposit. All you should do is think of demand deposit as a checking account. Did I write this in for you? All right, required reserve is the percent of demand deposit. So it doesn't have it here, but it's the percent of demand deposits that the bank must hold. So the bank only holds, say, 10% of demand deposit. Any other transaction, reserve requirements. Yes.
Would that percentage ever change?
Oh, it could, yeah, because isn't that part of ROD? Reserve rate, yes, okay. And you'll learn tomorrow, like, we don't even do reserve requirements anymore. Excess reserves, the amount that the bank could loan out. So Oliver deposits $1,000. I'm going to say the reserve requirement is 0.1. So the bank holds $100 reserve requirement. The other 900 is called excess reserves. They could loan that out, they could buy bonds, they could do whatever they want with that 900. It's excess up to the bank's discretion. Okay. I'm going to show you a balance sheet soon. It's just a record of assets and liability. And one of the things in a balance sheet is assets have to equal liability. That's why it's called the balance sheet, because they balance each other out. Okay. Now, are demand deposits for a bank an asset or a liability? For a bank, it's a liability because the bank owes Alex whatever he put in. For you, what is demand deposits? It's an asset. Okay. Good job. All right. So we're going to manipulate these terms today. All right. So the first thing is 10,000 has to equal 10,000. Owner's equity would be Charlie is starting a bank. He puts 5,000 of his money in. Demand deposits. All right. What did I say? Required. All right. So if this is required reserves, what would be the reserve ratio? If all 500 is required reserves, what would be the reserve ratio? What? You give me the fraction, I'll do the math.
500 over 10,000.
500 over 5,000.
Oh.
Because remember, required reserves only come out of demand deposit. So 500 over 5,000, and that would be 10%. Okay? Now, treasury bonds, they are already bought. The loans, they're already loaned out. Okay? So these are already loaned out. Those are treasury bonds that were bought. All right. I did not put this problem in your notes. I missed it. So if you could answer these questions somewhere on your note sheet, but the balance sheets you have, they're not the same.
Put this in.
Bob? Deposits 1,000?
It says the Fed by.
No, it's different, that's what, it's a different one. All right, so you could just find the spot to do this. And let me just answer one for you. Or let someone, Nick, what is the, what is the required ratio, reserve ratio?
Is it 1 over or something?
Okay, it's always gonna be required reserves over demand deposits. So it's 2 over 20,000, 10%.
Wait, why would it be 2 over 21,000? Because Bob deposited.
No, okay, but this is before Bob's deposit, that's what I wanted to do. Okay? You're right. All right, so now Bob deposits 1,000. I'd like you to try to see how much you could do on your own for 2 or 3 minutes. If you get stuck at one, skip and see could you get the next one.
I mean, number 2. I need to, I pulled out my notes, so I just thought, M1.
Bob has 1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
Is that
M1, yeah, it is. So the interest.
Yeah. That's M1. He then puts it in the bank. Oh, the bank has 1,000 extra in the bank deposit, right? Is that M1? It is. So what happens at M1? Did it change? It stays the same, right? He just took 1,000 and put it in the bank.
It didn't matter where he had it.
Yeah, he had 1,000, right? Now he's minus 1,000. Minus yourself, so you can figure it out. Yeah. No, but he's. You're good.
I think it's actually questions are really slow. So and then the rate is finance required for you know, much actually 2,000 10%. They have to keep behind you by the next 12 hours.
How much more is the bank gonna get for it on that?
I mean, no, but it's.
How much with the money supply can? Huh?
I think you can. Right. You add, I think it's charged before you deposit. Correct.
Yeah.
Or that's the 900.
How would you try to?
How much was that?
No, it's.
All right. Let's see where we are. Tommy, 5 deposit, 1,000 in the bank. Did that change demand deposits? Goes from 20 to what? 21,000. Okay. All right, now. Luca, of that extra 1,000, how much has to be put in required reserves?
Oh, 100.
100. So that would go from 2,000 to 2,100, right? All right. Now. Bradley, if we're putting 100 in required reserves, how much do we have left for excess reserves? 900, right? So we had $1,000 deposit, 100 had to be in required, 900. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? I'm going to go to 2 after we're done with all this. All right. Evan, how much more can this bank now initially lend out?
900.
900, the 900 in excess. Okay. You're good? Chuckles. How much? Well, first, Chuckles, do you remember the money multiplier?
Is it 1 over something?
Chuckles, yes, it is 1 over something.
Okay, I went there, yes, and is it 1 over the reserve ratio?
It's 1 over the reserve ratio. And Chuckles, that would equal. Okay, now, knowing the money multiplier is 10, Bennett, what's the maximum change in the money supply caused by this $1,000 deposit? 900, the excess times the money multiplier, 9,000. Okay, good job.
Can you repeat that last part?
Yeah, it's the increase in excess, which is 900, times the money multiplier will tell you how much increased in the whole system.
It's always excess.
Yeah. Now, let's back up to 2. Mike, what do you have to 2?
I got, stays the same,
Okay, why?
because that 1,000 goes into demand deposits, but then.
It's demand deposits M1.
But yeah, so that's,
What's the 1,000 in your pocket M1?
yeah,
All right, so it just changed from your pocket, from the bank, from your pocket to the bank.
Yeah.
So it stays the same. Yes, Chuck.
5,900.
Because out of that 1,000, 100 went in reserves, 900 of excess could initially be lent out. Does that make sense to you or not?
Kind of like, I don't know why is it like 3,000?
Oh, that would be the total. You're right, the total would be 3,900. I interpreted this as how much extra due to the thing. But you're right, the total is 39. Huh? If you're looking at total, yes,
This be responsible.
yes.
How do you get the number for number 6? Is that 9,000?
That's the excess 900 private times the multiplier. Okay. Anyone else? Now, if Bob withdrew 1,000, you'd go through the same thing, except you just have like minus 900, minus 9,000. Okay, you just put minus signs there. All right. Let's try. All right, the next one I think is in your notes. Is the next one the Fed? In your notes? Do you have this? No?
Thing is, if the reserve requirement is 9%.
No, but do you have a balance sheet?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, try to do this. And try to do the transaction. The Fed buys bonds. What is the bank losing and what is it gaining?
No, I think I.
You have total. Right? I love it. This 2100. Fed buys $1,000 bond. After they buy the bond, how many treasury, how much treasury bonds is the bank? Okay, what's that out? 4,000. What's the 5,000? 4,000, right? Yeah, I have what? So where does that 1,000 go? Where you gonna put it? It's gotta be on the left side, right? To balance the balance sheet. So where's it gonna go? Huh? The bank did. Excess. Sorry. No, no, because only debt demand deposits pay reserve requirements.
So that. So he's gonna be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it always gives the excess.
The Fed does.
And always gives it. And the first one would be 2,100, so.
No, didn't change. Demand deposits didn't change, did it? So then it's. Charles,
Why would demand deposits not change?
is the Fed putting money in a checking account?
But aren't they taking money out of their checking account?
Okay. Let's slowly. Let's go through it. Total. All right, Chuck, the Fed's buying $1,000 bond, right?
Yeah.
From the bank. Right?
Yes,
So the bank now has how much in bonds?
4,000.
4,000.
Oh.
Now, the bank got $1,000 for that. Where's it gonna go? Excess. Okay. So when the Fed puts money in, 10% doesn't come out Because they're not putting it in a checking account, they're buying a bond. Okay, so, I mean, you could put how much is in required reserves, 2,000. That didn't change. How much is in excess? We now have 4,000. How much more could the bank? So now, how much more could the bank initially lend out? 1,000. Kyle, do you remember how to figure out the money multiplier? So so it's 1/0.1, so the money multiplier is 10. All right, so I'm gonna take maximum change in money supply, 1,000 times 10 is gonna give me 10,000. Now, when they ask you for the maximum change in demand deposits, it's whatever the Fed did times the money multiplier. Okay, so the Fed bought $1,000 bond times 10, so the maximum change in demand deposits is going to be 10,000. If the whole system demand deposits went up 10,000, how much is reserve requirements going to go up in the whole system? No, reserve requirements. What? I heard someone say it. 1,000, 10% of the demand deposit. So you get 1,000 for the minimum reserve. Luca.
So how do you find the change in money supply? The amount of change in money supply?
Change in money supply is the excess times the multiplier.
Oh, okay.
On all of these, for each one, like the demand deposits, would you like a sheet of like what you do? Do you know what I mean? Like you take the change times the multiplier there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll get one of them together.
You put the number again?
Yeah, so Chuck, we figured out that demand deposits increased by 10,000 in the whole system, right? If demand deposits in the system increased by 10,000, we know that the reserve requirement is 0.1, so reserve requirements have to increase by 1,000.
So it's just how much you buy.
Say that again.
It's the same as the Fed buys originally.
Yeah. Now, notice when the Fed puts $1,000 into the system, how much does it increase? The whole total money supply. Hey, when I put 1,000 in the bank, how much does it increase? 9. The reason being, when I put 1,000 in, that 1,000 was originally an M1 when it was in my pocket, right? When the Fed puts the 1,000 in, it's a new 1,000 because it was never in the money system. Questions about it? All right, one last thing. See, could we do this? If the reserve requirement is 9%, someone with a calculator, give us the money multiplier. Or with a brain.
1.1.
No, isn't it 11?
Oh, yeah. Wait,
11.111. 1/0.09.
oh, 0.09.
Yeah, but is it 9%?
Yeah, it's 11.
Okay, so it's like 11.111, right? So like that. All right, now. If the demand deposits are 20,000. Evan, how much does the bank have to keep in required reserve? If it's 20,000, if this is 20,000 and 0.09 is the reserve requirement.
We just multiplied
Yeah, so that'd be 1,800, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
So 1,800 would be in required reserve, so therefore this bank would have 200 in excess. Okay? Just showing you like, that's kind of type of question they sometimes have.
That'd be a month.
Yeah. But there'd be,
Yeah.
that, this situation, I believe is on your plate. All right? All right, if you could take like a minute, fill out the sheet, ask me any questions, so I know to go over it for tomorrow. If you have any questions, put them in the box.
I gave the class an 8, but the 2 points I took off were only for the gas. I did not have any questions. Covered all the questions.
It's true.